everybody, how are you doing? In this Webeo, I've proposed a railway line connecting Long Island directly with New Jersey. Now why do this? Long Island has a population of 8 million people. New Jersey also has a population of 8 million people. However, there is no single seat ride on a train from New Jersey to Long Island. Currently, the most convenient way to do that is to take the Northeast Corridor to Penn Station and transfer to the Long Island Railroad to go to Long Island. This line aims at easing the convenience and making a one-seat ride from New Jersey and the Northeast Corridor to Long Island and further east. So trains will come from eastern Long Island right here to Jamaica, and then they will go via this new line here. This will rehabilitate the former Montauk line here, and it will go through Queens and into Brooklyn via the Bay Ridge branch here, and it will stop at many stations serving many different subway lines, and I'll get into that later in this video. And that goes under the New York Bay, serving to ease congestion of the Verrazano Bridge, and then go into the North Shore of Staten Island before finally going into New Jersey. So as I kind of hinted, this line serves multiple functions. In addition to purely connecting New Jersey and further south with Long Island, it also serves to decongest the Belt Parkway right here and the Verrazano Bridge right here. And that brings me to a big thing. This line will easily connect New Jersey with JFK Airport. Now, as much as people will argue this, quantitative facts say that JFK is a main airport of New York City. Not to mention that there's a big Indian diaspora right here south of Elizabeth all the way to New Brunswick. And all these people here often probably travel to India a lot. JFK actually has more flights to India than Newark currently. In addition, it will serve as a commuter railway from the northwestern part of Staten Island to St. George, where people can go on the ferry to southern Manhattan. Finally, it will serve as a perimeter metro. So perimeter metros basically connect different train and metro lines further out of the city center, and it allows easier transport between suburb and suburb without having to go into the city center. So what I mean by that is East New York, Flatbush Avenue, 14th Avenue, and Bay Ridge North are all served by multiple subway lines, and to go from this area to here currently via subway requires you to have to go to downtown Brooklyn or worse yet, Manhattan. With this line, you don't have to do that. You could just go directly on this line right here. This line has a length of 27.6 miles or 44.4 kilometers, and there are 4 new tunnels, the longest of which is 6.1 miles under the New York Bay. Now you may be wondering, what are all the colors? And I'm actually going to place a key right here, but I'm going to go with the colors with you. So blue is your friend. Light blue means nothing has to be changed besides electrification. Now this will be an electrified line, and none of the portions right here are currently electrified, so that's why it has to be electrified. But besides that, nothing has to be done. There's quite a bit of blue here, especially in Queens and in Staten Island. The next color I'm going to discuss is this hot pink right here. Now hot pink means it's either 2 tracks and it will be widened to 3 tracks, or it's 1 track and it will be widened to 2 tracks. And this is primarily to allow goods trains to operate on the track as well. And I've done some measurements here, and most of this is able to support at least 3 tracks. A couple locations here will go down to 2 tracks, but some switches will allow trains to pass each other. We also have blue, dark blue. Dark blue is new tunnels. Now this is a little different from my other Webeos because there are new tunnels and existing tunnels, but dark blue is new tunnels. We also have magenta, which is new viaducts. We have one here just west of Middle Village and one here just east of Port Richmond in Staten Island. We also have 2 more colors. We have purple. Now this is an existing tunnel via the Bay Ridge branch, and actually East New York Station will be in that. And finally, we have green. Green is new at ground alignment. Now obviously, since this is a city, you won't see that many of green, but here at the Bayway Park and Ride is a green portion, so it'll just be at grade but still on a new alignment. So without further ado, Let's zoom in to Jamaica Station. So here we are at Jamaica Station. Jamaica Station is the second busiest station on the whole of the Long Island Railroad, after you guessed it, Penn Station. All trains on the Long Island Railroad, with the exception of the Port Washington branch, stop here. So this is a big transfer place. Also, trains coming to and from JFK will go via the A train right here. So people from further west along this line will find easy access to go to New York's main airport. As I said, trains directly from the east will stop at Jamaica and they'll directly continue onto this new line right here. There will not be a necessary transfer. So after Jamaica, the line will go along the Atlantic branch for a little, but then continue to the north a little bit right here, so to the northwest, because the existing Atlantic branch does go into a tunnel, but trying to deviate a new tunnel to go onto the Bay Ridge branch would be too costly, especially due to the cut and cover nature of that tunnel, not to mention that it would heavily bypass East New York, which is a big transportation hub. So instead I just routed it onto the old Montauk branch right here. Now there's some old stations here. I believe this one is the old Richmond Hill station. The distance between stations is actually relatively high, and this is because I want to maintain decent speeds. I want some intra-regional trains to also use this line right here. People coming as far as the Philadelphia area can come here as well via this one seat access. Now there is a little questioning about this route right here, but I think the benefits outweigh its cons. Now if you think the other way, you could leave that in the comments, but this goes through Forest Park, and this will revive noise and almost like chaos to the serenity of Forest Park, but will it be worth it? That's a big question, and it's all up to you guys. I don't live in New York City, but many people do, and they could give their own opinion. So that's exactly what the comment section of this video is about. But as my proposal goes, it goes through Forest Park, and this is all 2 tracks right here, so just have to be electrified. It crosses Jackie Robinson Parkway and the Union Turnpike, all on a bridge, and it continues, and this is at a speed of 60 to 80 miles per hour. The top speed of this line is 80 miles per hour. The next station is Middle Village. Now Middle Village has a population of around 30,000 people. Now sadly I couldn't make this station close enough to the Middle Village station of the M train, because that would require building a tunnel going all the way like this. So I made it on like the main central part of Middle Village, not the western part, which is served by the M train. So they'll serve like more reaching areas. It also goes almost all the way to Forest Hills and Kew Gardens. So almost to the northeast of Middle Village is the main focus of this station. And as I said, this station will connect to many other subway lines, both this way and this way. And it'll allow easy commute to wherever their work may be. So just west of Middle Village, the line will deviate from the existing Montauk branch right here, and will go into a tunnel. This tunnel is 0.6 miles long, and I made it so to maintain the speeds of 80 miles per hour. It then, just south of 65th Street, goes onto a viaduct, and this is a little interesting. 65th Street may have to be demolished to make this viaduct work, especially given the grades here. It's going from underground to above the streets here, and this is flat terrain here too, but I think this could work. So it goes on a viaduct here, and now this is the Bay Ridge branch here, which is a goods branch, and this is actually 3 to 4 tracks right here. So I'm going to dedicate 1 to 2 tracks for the goods trains and the other 2 tracks for the new passenger trains. So the line goes onto the Bay Ridge branch here, it continues at 80 miles per hour, and the next station is East New York. East New York is already served by the Atlantic branch, but it allows future possible connectivities with 5 different subway lines, the A, C, J, Z, and L. A, C, J, Z, and L all serve Broadway Junction right here, which is a 3-block walk, and I do believe that there should be an easy transfer here, and the L train also serves Atlantic Avenue right here. So this could be a big transportation hub in the eastern part of Brooklyn, and this is also relatively dense. There's a lot of factories here, lots of homes, lots of retail, especially along Atlantic Avenue right here. This station has big potential. Now this is all in the existing tunnel of the Bay Ridge branch, so this station will be integrated into that existing tunnel. Now obviously it'll have to be relatively nice since it's a new line. You don't want to be like the dingy subway lines. This is a more premium service and it needs the architecture of such. So after East New York, the line emerges, and now this is one track right here, but it has a space for 3 tracks, and this is probably the first time I've ever done this in a Webeo. It may be a little hard to measure it here, so I'm actually going to do Google Street View to go to the line. And as you can see, this is what we are working with. We have 2 tracks right here. There's definitely enough space for 3 tracks in this region right here. Worst case is you could build a track under this trestle right here. So this is where the line will go. This is under the L train or the Karanzi line, and it continues parallel to the L train, but then it deviates to the west because this is where the existing Bay Ridge branch goes. And the next station is Remsen Avenue. Now Remsen Avenue is in the Canarsie area, and Canarsie is a big population district, and it is only served by the L train, which is a big problem because many people from here frequently go to Coney Island or Western Brooklyn. The only way to do that is via bus or via the Belt Parkway, or having to go further in, like closer to Manhattan, and transfer there. This line will make it very, very easy for those people. Remsen Avenue again serves with more than 150,000 people within a 1 mile radius. Think about that. That's more than the city I come from, all in this radius right here. It's also reasonably close to the L train right here, but I wouldn't say it's close enough for transferring. But this is where the existing line goes, so that's why I decided to place the station right here. And this will be 3 tracks through here. There is enough space. Now if you're wondering, why are you widening this? Isn't this exactly why you hated doing the widening of the Long Island Railroad? Well, here these are mostly factories and lower income housing. Now in Long Island, those were like middle class, higher income housing, so they will be much more stingy about widening and encroaching onto their properties than commercial and industrial businesses right here. So this will remain as 3 tracks. So it's currently 2 tracks. It'll be widened to 3 tracks. 2 tracks will be for the passenger trains, and the 3rd track will be for the goods trains. And that continues along through here. Now, just past Albany Avenue, this is where things get interesting. The line is only wide enough for 2 tracks, not to mention that all the bridges would have to be demolished to make 3 tracks. So what I decided to do is it's only going to be a couple miles, but it's going to be mostly 2 tracks except when space allows for 3 tracks. And there will be a lot of switches so that certain trains can pass other trains. This is not a heavily used freight line, but switches are required for that occasional freight train that may snarl up service. The next station is Flatbush Avenue. Flatbush Avenue is going to be an important station. It connects with the Flatbush Avenue station of the 2 and 5 trains right here, and it also serves Brooklyn College. Now Brooklyn College is, as I said, university population. University students, even more than the general population of New York City, doesn't have access to cars. So many people from here can utilize Flatbush Avenue, and many people coming from the 2 and 5 trains as well can utilize the station and go to basically anywhere in Long Island and Brooklyn and Queens they desire on a 1-seat access train. So after Flatbush Avenue, the line continues along the Bay Ridge branch. Now it crosses, this is the Q train, I believe this is the F train, so it crosses both of them. Now you could leave it in the comments, do you want this line to stop at all of them? There are arguments for both. If it stops at both, there's more connection, but then again, what does it do in like the longer like regional transportation? For example, like central New Jersey to central Long Island, that could take a lot more time. The other possibility is allowing express trains to operate along this route, but due to the length of this route as well as what we have seen in the main line of the Long Island Railroad, to see it feasible is questionable. So after that, the next station is 14th Avenue. 14th Avenue serves the D and N trains. The N train is here, the D train is here. So again, 2 more lines connecting directly between them, allowing people from this neighborhood right here to go to Karachi and further north. So after 14th Avenue, the line actually curves to the northwest, and this is going to be 2 tracks. So it's currently 1 track, it will be upgraded to 2 tracks. So that's what that pink color is. However, just past the Fort Hamilton Parkway station of the N train, the line dives into a tunnel, and this is that 6.1 mile long tunnel under the bay. Now before that, we get into Bay Ridge North, and something I almost forgot to mention is that I actually found how to change the icons from pins. So basically, when there's an arch above the train indicator, that means it is an underground station. When there's no arch, it is not underground. Simple as that. So this connects with the R train at the Bay Ridge Avenue station, and this will be a deep tube station as well. So after Bay Ridge Avenue, this goes under the upper New York Bay. Now this serves as basically the Staten Island Tunnel. It's not a one-stop access to like Manhattan via train, but nonetheless it serves Manhattan and especially Brooklyn and Queens much more effectively from Staten Island. So into Staten Island, the first station is St. George. St. George is the terminus of the current Staten Island Railway, which is a 15-mile long train line going all the way southwest to Tottenville. It is heavily used, and this is a big transportation hub connecting to the Staten Island Ferry to South Ferry terminus in Lower Manhattan, and allowing this new line to go underneath it and serve it as well will be a big boon to the economy and allow these different transportation options to integrate into one another. Not to mention that it will probably serve as more publicity for the Staten Island Yankees right here. Now, one thing with the St. George station is that it'll have to be a very deep station. So probably nearly as deep as the Exchange Place Path station, which is around 75 feet below the surface. This will also be relatively deep because it has to go under the bay right here. So stairs, escalators, elevators, those will be major additional costs. Nevertheless, I do think the benefits of building this station heavily outweigh the cost, especially considering St. George is a big transportation hub. Also, it's the densest part of Staten Island. It's where all the government offices are and many other offices right here. So you never know, people from Brooklyn and even like western Staten Island and into New Jersey can commute into St. George right here. So after St. George, the line continues. This is still all underground. It would be impractical to try to build an elevated railway line right here, given that this is actually relatively hilly during the New Brighton area right here, and into New Brighton, there's a nearly 100-foot elevation change. So the line will actually be relatively deep, but it'll have to stay deep because it eventually emerges. So New Brighton will unfortunately also be a deep station. But then again, it serves an area not served by any train in Staten Island, currently only by the bus. So people from New Brighton can go to St. George, take the ferry, go to New Jersey for their work, and go to Long Island for their work, or JFK, or basically anything else Long Island has to offer. The station is located at the intersection of Lafayette Avenue and Henderson Avenue, and this is one of the busier intersections of New Brighton. So after New Brighton, the line continues underground at a speed of 80 miles per hour, but then just west of Richmond Terrace, it goes onto a viaduct. Now this right here, some businesses may have to be destroyed, but overall in the line, very few businesses have to be destroyed. These are like a couple of the only few. So there'll be a viaduct here, and this is where the old North Shore branch of the Staten Island Railway still exists. So these trains will use this right here. Now obviously the tracks will obviously have to be rectified to support heavier, faster trains. But nonetheless, this is vital to allow the western parts of Staten Island right here to commute to St. George and go on to Long Island or Lower Manhattan. So Port Richmond, again, another underserved station. It actually used to be a prior station of the North Branch before it closed in the 1950s. So it's very important to revive this station. And why not just do it on this all-encompassing line right here? So The line goes further west. The next station is Arlington. Now Arlington's more of like a trench station, but it serves the Arlington neighborhood of western Staten Island, which again, large population, no railway service whatsoever. I also forgot to mention that this line can very well serve to decongest the Staten Island Expressway, especially within Staten Island. Not just people going from New Jersey to Brooklyn and Long Island, but people within Staten Island as well. So these three stations aim at reducing congestion and increasing the local economies. So after Arlington, as I said, now this is on the existing line right here. This is 2 tracks. It'll have to be rehabilitated, but besides that, nothing has to be done besides electrification. It continues through some warehouses right here. Now this is where I had no other choice but to build a tunnel, because this is the Kilvankull here. To build a high railway bridge would be really impractical, especially when trying to intersect with a new Goethals Bridge under the construction. It's not really showing much under this instance of Google Earth, but they're building a new Goethals Bridge here, which will ease congestion between New Jersey and Long Island. However, I don't think it'll be enough, and it won't serve the full purpose that this railway line aims to serve. So the only way I could do that, to go under this, is just to tunnel through it, which is sad. It increases the price, but there was no other option I could do. The other option I was considering was to reroute the line all the way to southern Staten Island right here and go through Carteret and connect probably just north of Metro Park and just north of Woodbridge. However, there would be a big tunnel required to go through here. So in the end, this would actually be cheaper. The freight trains will still utilize this bridge. So the next station, and actually the last new station of this connecting line right here, is a Bayway Park and Ride. Now I am a big fan of park and ride stations. If you remember my very first Webeo on the New York to Boston high-speed rail, I proposed a station on the interchange of Interstate 90 and Route 128 in Weston. Now that was to serve like the whole western part of Massachusetts, which is like a more car owning culture, to go to that station and go onto the high-speed railway line to go further southwest without having to go into Boston itself. Now this aims to serve the same thing. So I've not planned the specific ramps here, but building a parking garage and a park and ride station could be a big boom. This happens to be at the intersection of Interstate 95 and Interstate 278. So many people, especially from southern New Jersey, central New Jersey, Philly, all of that, can go right here, take the new ramps to the park and ride, and go especially east to Long Island. They will leave their cars behind. They won't have to deal with the Goethals Bridge and the Verrazano Bridge and all the traffic that Long Island has to offer. And this station, as I said, is on that small section of new at ground alignment. But then after that, it goes on to existing tracks right here. Now there's some grade crossings, but there's nothing I could do about it, so those will remain. It's just one, and it's also relatively minor roads, and the trains are at 80 miles per hour, so it's nothing that like hurt like high-speed trains, because it's not really a true high-speed line. So finally, just before going under Route 1 and 9, it goes into a tunnel, and this tunnel is of length 1.6 miles, and it emerges onto the northeast corridor just north of Linden Station. And these trains can go to New Brunswick, to Trenton, even all the way to Philadelphia on a regional service. And I wouldn't be surprised if people like that idea, going from Philadelphia to Long Island in a one train service. Think about that. So with that out of the way, let's zoom out and see from where we have come. So there you have it, my friends. A direct connection from Long Island to New Jersey via Staten Island, serving as a perimeter metro, allowing people from one suburb to go easily to another suburb without having to go into the downtown. Also serving as a commuter railway line, especially in Staten Island, allowing people from the northern part of Staten Island to go to St. George and then further on to Manhattan. Finally, it allows people from New Jersey to go to Long Island right here. And not just that, people from Philadelphia and further south, regional trains can be run to go to Long Island. Long Island population is 8 million people. That's not inconsequential. That is equal to the entire population of New Jersey. There's a lot of demand from the mid-Atlantic to Long Island, and this line aims to meet that demand. So I would like to thank you guys for watching this. It has been a pleasure to draw this line and explore all these regions served by this line. I hope I see you guys soon. Thank you so much, and goodbye.